Hello and welcome to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan. You ever have that thing where you have like so much caffeine, you end up getting a headache?
The funny thing is caffeine actually supposed to cure headaches.
Yeah.
That's why, like, when you take aspirin, if you ever notice it's got caffeine in them.
So that's in my head right now. Yeah. No, the plan was to have a fuck ton of caffeine and get a bunch of projects done. Plus, we got this big snowstorm coming in. So it's kind of like, all right, just work all night. I don't have nothing to do tomorrow. So
work all night,
sleep all day. Yeah. Now it's just kind of like, that was a mistake.
Well, one day I remember
Plus
I noticed,
recording later than usual.
I was looking at how much caffeine I've had in the day, and I was like, you know what? I've had over a gram of caffeine. Mm-hmm. That's a lot, because mostly, like, okay, each soda or drink or energy drink has, like, 150 milligrams to, like, 250 mostly, give or take. Uh-huh. So I had, like, a gram. I think I had a gram and a half one day. I was like, Jesus Christ. Because I had, like, 3 cups of tea, couple, like, 2 energy drinks, pre-workout drink, and probably even caffeine pills to top it off. God knows why.
Caffeine pills?
Yeah, I got caffeine pills. Like, when making tea takes too long, caffeine pills.
I barely ever have energy drinks anymore. I mean, I'll have a lot of coffee, or I'll have like a soda here and there, but I don't really have rock stars or amps or anything like that. If I'm like on a big road trip, because there's this one point.
Well, driving and energy drinks just goes hand in hand. Like, there's something about, like, I feel like the energy drink, it's like the beer of the road. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is, but you drink an energy drink while driving, it just gives you this nice, like, calm feeling, like, it's a nice sunny day out right now. You're cruising down the road, all at 55 miles per hour. Mm-hmm. The radio's on.
Unless it's like Vanishing Point, where it's just like...
So we're like, give me some speed. I need to get there in time. Give me speed and night vision goggles.
We're in the 70s, it seemed like beer was the beer of the road.
Well, like, you ever heard the stories of, like, your grandparents where they're like...
We would just pull over the road, yeah.
Well, like, one, there was no such thing as Grandpa going driving without having a six-pack right next to him. And it wasn't like he was getting, like, hammered. It wasn't just, like, drinking them, chuck one out the window, drink one, chuck one out the window. It was just, he would probably go through one, maybe, one beer every half an hour or so, give or take. And
you hear those
people,
stories.
too, they used to always stop, and you would just hit up all these bars along your vacation route.
All down
and
Highway
that was just part of it, yeah. That was like the thing. It's just like, every 100 miles you stop by and you get a cocktail and then you go on again. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Now it's just so frowned upon because people...
We'll come into that later, but...
yeah, we got how this kind of leads into that, but...
I'll say this real quick. One reason why I kind of like cut back on caffeine is I'm not sure if I ever told you this, but I reached this point.
Did you just wake up one morning just surrounded by things that you didn't know how they got there and...
Well, close, but no, that's a different story altogether. But this one, I reached this point where I was
pig
working.
Runs across the room.
No, not that. No, I think I told the story where I, like, in a halfway delusional state, went on, like, Amazon and started ordering shit, but I was, like, halfway awake, had my phone out. I think I mentioned that. There was, like, a Cowboy Bebop shirt I really
and you
wanted.
bought the Cowboy Bebop.
It's like, I shouldn't buy it, but, just, like, so I put it down. At some point, I remember picking up my phone, just browsing for a little while halfway asleep, and then ordering it. So I'm like, oh, well, whatever. Seems like a problem, but whatever. Anyway, so, but there's this one point, this one summer, I think it was like summer of 06, maybe 07, I started drinking like so many energy drinks because I was working so much, and I'd be like closing, I'd be opening, just working a lot. And I reached the point where I was having so many energy drinks that it wasn't even kind of like, oh, I gotta get up, time to get a rock star, or I gotta get up, time to get an amp. It was... I'm thirsty. I'm going to go get a rock star. It reached that point.
Where it just got bad.
I didn't even realize it kind of peaked. Like, I was like Idris Elba in Pacific Rim. I just start randomly getting nosebleeds. I'd be walking and I was like, a nosebleed. That's weird. I wonder why that's for. I just didn't take a sip out of an amp.
Yeah, I wonder where that came from.
And then, like, I slow, like, people are like, you should be worried. I'm like, I don't know, why is this happening?
Yeah, whatever, what's wrong? You got a problem too, huh?
Yeah, and like, then I was like, oh, then I kind of put 2 and 2 together. Like, maybe it's, just maybe.
This is why I'm bleeding everywhere.
It's the 4 energy drinks a day.
Yeah, I always feel like, well, in a sense, like, if you have a pre-workout drink, that's really not that far off from an energy drink. So I feel like I have an energy drink every day when it really comes down to that. Mm-hmm. And if you combine that energy drink, or the pre-workout with an actual energy drink, then you get a really good workout. Yeah. But still.
No, yeah.
I don't
know. No, I've just been cutting back on those altogether. For a while, I was having those Rockstar, like, 10-calorie ones, but then now it's just at the point where, like, yeah,
Yeah.
Caffeine pills, though. Caffeine pills and all that.
Well, see, caffeine pills, you think about it, it sounds weird because most people are like, what the fuck? It's like, I remember one time somebody was like, man, I really need some energy. I'm like, well, I got these caffeine pills. And they just kind of give you this look like, whoa, I don't know if I need them that bad. It's like, it's really, it's like, it's like drinking a cup of coffee or, a cup of green tea without having to drink it.
Without the joy of it.
Yeah, without the nice warm flavor and all that such.
That's when the people talk about, like, oh, yeah, it'd be cool to reach that point in the Jetsons where you just have, like, a few pills and that's everything you need for the day. I'm like, that sounds fucking horrible.
I kind of like the pill idea, though. I'm kind of into the pill thing. I'm waiting for that day that, like, no matter what, if I miss a meal, it's like, whatever, I got some pills. Oh.
There's going to be always some kind of side effect that comes along with it. Nothing ever too, like, just, oh, yeah, just have this. Everything will be fine.
No, you got to get... no, when it really gets down to it, you got to kind of go back to, like, that primal need of food, like... I don't know.
Your caveman diet.
The caveman diet. Well, I don't even actually eat the caveman diet because I eat bread, so I guess clearly...
Explain to the listeners what the caveman diet is.
What the caveman diet is, it's pretty much... The only thing you can eat is if you could go out into the woods and find it. Or beach, or jungle, or whatnot. So you can't eat anything that's, like, processed or anything that's, like, made, in a sense. Mm-hmm. So it's got to be meat... It's got to be beans, vegetables. You can eat potatoes and rice, being kind of like your carb equivalent to bread. But no bread, no crackers, no chips. I say that there's all these different ways. People say like, well, you can't have like dairy. I'm like, no. You can go in the woods.
You can strangle a cow.
Anything that you can like, if you could suck milk out of something, that's still getting it. I can maybe see with the cheese because like cheese is kind of processed. Milk. So I can see the cheese not being on the list, but I don't see anything with milk.
Go to your Whole Foods store and get some like raw
milk. As long as you're northern, if you have like you descended from Northern European, you can drink as much milk as you want.
Yeah. We were talking about this like I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday. It's kind of like I think it's only like really It only seems like only white people are the ones that have a bunch of cheese, like an ungodly amount of cheese. When you think about other cultures, and when you think about kind of like other foods of cheese, and it's like the Americanization of it. You know what I mean? Just like because pizza really is just kind of a combination of Italian thing, just made into an American invention, really.
Yeah, well, pizza comes from Italy.
Well, wasn't it generally?
But there's different kind of versions of pizza now. So now we have Chicago and New York and California style pizza. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like you can get it.
Oh, I know you can get it there.
Even though the weird thing, what's the strangest thing though? I want to say it was in the late 1800s was the first time tomatoes were introduced into Italy. Mm-hmm. Like tomatoes haven't been there for that long. Mm-hmm. And you think about Italian food, it's all tomato based almost.
Yeah.
But to go back to that the milk thing, the guy that owns the gym, John, like he saw that I had a couple gallons of milk like in the fridge at the gym, and he was like, "Oh my god, this is horrible! Milk's like this thing." And so he gives me this book. It's like called "Milk: The Deadly Poison," and it's a milk jug on it. It's got like X. I was gonna say XXX, but it's just got like skull and crossbones on it, like you're drinking some pirate milk of some sort. And then he prints out this article off the internet and stuff, and I'm just looking through the stuff, and I'm reading this article, and it goes down, and it's talked about. It's like, well, some people have tolerance to milk, and some people don't. And the list kind of wins like, well, Native Americans can't handle milk whatsoever. They never had any milk in their diets because I think cows are all brought over from Europe, anyways. So they had like the 0% tolerance. And then, like, the next one up, I think, was, like, Asians had, like, a 40% tolerance. Like, some could handle it, some couldn't, but milk still wasn't really a common thing. Same with Middle Easterns, I want to say, were 50%, and so was Africans. And then it was, like, 75% was, like, Southern European and stuff. And then it goes up to, like, Northern European is 90% of people can handle milk because they lived in dark times where you never saw the sun, so that's where you got your vitamin D from, was milk, and everybody was a, cow or goat herder anyways. And then it goes, and the number one race to have, like, the highest tolerance of, like, a 96% is Sweden. I'm like, well, there's, like, one of my main countries. So I just point this all out to him, and he had that kind of look of, like, oh.
He didn't know that in his book?
Well, yeah, it was just one of those ones, like...
He just looked at the cover,
yeah, Northern European.
He just looks at the cover, he's like, well, it's right there. If anybody tries to tell me otherwise, we'll just slap the book in front of it. No sense in opening it.
Well, he's, like, from Portugal, so it's like, yeah, you know what? Us Northern Europeans, we can handle our milk. Goddamn right.
Yeah.
Well, I think milk's the key thing. It's like...
That's probably my favorite. I mean, I always kind of think about once in a while, like, I could go vegetarian. Fuck no if I can go vegan.
Well, see, vegetarian, the upside of that is, like, I think about it, I'm like, if you're vegetarian, you can have milk, you could have cheese, you could have eggs. I mean, that's, like some of the core stuff I eat, milk and egg. That's, like, the two main things. Like, as long as I can have that. The vegan one, to me, it's just, I look at it and I go, it just seems unnatural. The human body was not meant to just live off, like, plants alone.
Exactly. Plus, we have this whole gluten-free thing. If you're allergic to gluten stuff, fine. But recently, we've been having, because I work at a restaurant. We have a lot of people
get confused.
We have a lot of people coming in saying, "Do you have a gluten-free option for this or that?" It's like it's a burger, steak, and ribs restaurant in the middle of the fucking mountains.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's like, I mean, I don't really know all the specifics and details of the gluten thing, but I know it's primarily just a phase, like everything else is going to go through. Well, something that doesn't really matter as much as it, you know. I mean, there are people who have an allergic reaction to that. I have a few friends that have that.
Well, Chris Hardwick on the Nerdist was talking to not Edge, but Chris Jericho. I think it was his last podcast, and they were talking about like the gluten-free thing. He's like, I had an ex-girlfriend who was, who needed the gluten-free stuff, and the thing is she could eat, bread or pizza and stuff like that. And she'd get kind of slightly nauseous, but that was about it. Just that slight nauseous feel. And then one point she went like 3 or 4 months without having anything gluten in it. And then they said she had a pizza, and it was equivalent of having like the worst food poisoning you can imagine.
Oh, wow.
And it was just, so it's like, it seems like no matter what, even if you are allergic to it, you got to still have a little bit of it, or else you're just
have some form of tolerance.
Yeah, or next thing you know, you're going to be stranded on an island, and you go, why is the only thing on this island a bread factory?
Do you guys have a phone, possibly, to get me here? No. We just have this bread factory, and the generations upon generations that have worked at this bread factory.
Yeah, on this island.
When here's inbred,
Well, can't we go fishing? No. The fish stay away. They all eat bread, too, anyway, so it's like eating a bread-filled fish.
Yeah.
That's all we got. Bread.
No escaping.
Gluten bread, that is.
Yeah. Why, what about the coconut trees? No, we burned those fuckers down.
They piss us off.
No, but, what's something I was going to say regarding all that?
But those people that kind of think that, like, gluten's like a diet. It's not a diet. It's like, it's a fucking disease that people have. It's like one of those ones.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I have a
friend. So, like, I remember when I was a kid, did you have any of these kids in, like, your elementary school that, like, there was that one kid that was fucking allergic to peanut butter? And it was, like, so bad that, like, peanut butter couldn't even be in their classroom. Like, so if somebody had a peanut butter sandwich, they'd be like, oh, you gotta take this outside now.
They're like, he's the same kind of kid that he'd get dizzy if he went on grass, because he had some kind of, like,
random...
Well,
you just kind of, like... It's once there's that point where you're like, there's 30 kids here. This one kid is ruining it all for us. Why don't we put him in a bubble and then we can all eat our peanut butter sandwiches while he watches?
It's almost kind of like you guys playing. While you guys are having like nap time. All of a sudden we just sleep. All the kids get up.
The peanut butter on.
No. Oh, you're all asleep. Somebody throws like a blanket over him. Puts a sock in his mouth, holds him down. They all run up with like they put their thermoses in the blankets are beating them like in like Full Metal Jacket.
They know that they take a peanut butter jar, put it in their socks, and run up and just beat the shit out of them a bunch of times.
Just like Full Metal Jacket.
Is that part in Full Metal Jacket though, where like the guy, like the fat guy's buddy is just kind of, and he stops for a second, just like
Joker?
I think, yeah. He just kind of has that look like.
I don't want to,
but I don't want to be part of the non-cool club.
Well, it was the guy holding him down saying, like, I remember what his words were, like, try it again, you fat fuck, or something. The guy holding him down, I believe that was the guy who was his friend when he actually met up with him again in an actual Nom. I think that's the guy who it was, wasn't it?
I can't remember which character it was.
They're all bald, so...
Yeah, they're all shaved head at that point. They become more characters later on, then you can see their...
You know Joker, and you know Pyle. Is that his name?
Pyle.
Yeah, you know Joker and you know Pyle. Everybody else kind of blends in. But I think that was like his one other friend that he meets up with later. Which later in the movie, they're like, those guys are best friends. Or you see him there like, Pyle's acting a little weird. He talks to his gun. Yeah, let's keep on just sweeping. Not talk about it. Then later, like, hey man, what's up? Best friends. It's kind of like high school. You'll see someone you went to high school with,
and you're almost like instantly best friends by this point, just because there's that one little connection there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, sometimes it's kind of like that. I mean,
well, to me, I was looking at go, it's fucking weird. It's like. What do you mean? Don't come to me thinking you're like best friends. Like, you talked to me like twice.
You get some people that are almost kind of like, it's like, there's never any real problem with you. You're like, oh, hey, man, what's up? So it's like no animosity. But every once in a while, you come up with somebody who's like one of your worst enemies in high school, and they're suddenly like want to be best friends with you. You know what I mean? That's always
like,
kind of weird.
We used to hang out all the time. We're like, when do we ever hang out?
Yeah, exactly.
You told me that.
Yeah, exactly. Someone we both know kind of thinks I'm an asshole because I don't really like, hey man, what's up? When I see people like that.
Who does that?
well, I won't say her name, but there's one friend we have that not from I have, but someone you kind of know that it's a lady who thinks I'm an asshole because I don't match her enthusiasm whenever we see each other.
I have no. I can't think who that is.
Starts with an M. I'll just say that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but no. Well, it's one of those things. It's not one of those things like, oh, I still hold a grudge. It's kind of like we were never friends. Sorry if I can't match this fake enthusiasm.
Yeah, it's weird how people get like that. I don't know. Speaking of enthusiasm, we saw Out of the Furnace today, and it was fantastic. I liked it a lot.
I really liked that movie.
I mean, I liked it pretty much probably as much as I thought I was going to like it from watching the trailer. I'll say that. Mm-hmm. Nothing probably more, nothing probably less. It was probably like exactly like I'm like that movie I'm going to really like, and then I just really liked it. Yeah.
I'm kind of at the same ball. It was a little. They advertised it a little differently because they advertised it. I mean, I was expecting kind of a long movie. I wasn't expecting a movie with a ton of action, but they almost advertised it like Christian Bale is going out in the woods to find his brother from this methed out hillbilly played by Woody Harrelson, where it's more like just Christian Bale's life is just
fucking
shit going downhill, and the very last act of the movie
is him to go search for his brother.
Yeah, and it's a good movie. Don't take that as me complaining.
No, it's Chris Bale's like, he's just real hard-working, nice guy, just does, what he's supposed to, but shit happens along the way. Mm-hmm. His father dies. He kills 2 kids in a car accident, or a kid and his mom in a car accident. Mm-hmm. He goes to jail for, I don't know if it's 3 months or 2 years.
I'm guessing 2 years at the max, because within that time, Casey Affleck grew a beard.
He grew it, yeah.
He had a tour in Iraq, and then by the time he got out, he was clean shaven, back from his tour. So I'm guessing it was.
I think a tour is 4 years, isn't it?
Is it 4 years?
Maybe it is.
Well, I know you.
I don't know. Maybe it's different when you go back.
I think maybe it's one of those things you get sent back on like a month-long vacation or something. But
maybe it's like the first time you go it's 4, and then after that maybe it's 2. I don't know. That's a good question, right?
They said he was stop lost. So
and he said he went on like 4 of them in his entire life. It's just like this guy's like almost like those kind of characters like I don't know anything else.
Yeah. Even for being a guy who's like, I don't know. I mean, I like this character. For being a guy who's like, I don't know anything else, he seemed very kind of like, I don't know what to do, guys.
Like that guy in like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like the beginning where he's just like, yeah, I'm going back to Vietnam. Where else would I go? It's awesome there.
I haven't seen the original.
No, not the original. It's actually it's like kind of like the Lost Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Actually, there's probably a couple you could say lost ones.
There's one where there's an Zellweger in it.
That one's actually a really good one. That's the next generation
or whatever.
That one's actually really good. It looks like kind of the one you're like, okay, it's the 4th Texas Chainsaw Massacre. How good can it be? But that's actually, they kind of come back strong with that one. But no, the beginning, after the Michael Bay kind of remake one, the beginning was the one that's like a prequel to that one.
Okay.
And that one's just really good. And like nobody saw it when it came out. It just kind of
because everybody had a bad taste in the Michael Bay one.
Yeah, I think that might have been it. And then like. Beginning came out and it was like it was like the better one, but
which I never saw Beginning. I saw the Michael Bay remake and I didn't really like it that much.
Really, the only thing good about it is R.L. Ermey. Really, that's like its saving grace.
It's going back to Full Metal Jacket.
Mm-hmm. But that's the saving grace of that one. Mm-hmm. And he's got just as big part in probably that beginning one.
That motherfucker hasn't aged at all in the last 20 years.
No, since Full Metal Jacket on, he looks like the same almost.
He does look the same. The guy has not aged, but. Anyway, though, but yeah, that this movie was almost kind of like going back to Out of the Furnace. It's a little bit of like a period piece to a certain extent because they go back to when maybe it goes up to present day. Because I'm not really sure how long he was in prison. I'm gonna guess it was like 2 years, maybe 2 years.
Let's just say 2 years.
Just say 2 years, and then nothing that long, but because before he went in, they were on the news. They were watching the news, and right when Obama was getting elected.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's kind of like the thing that locks it in. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that was him. I wonder if that was him getting elected the first time or second time.
I believe it was the first time because Ted Kennedy was announcing it.
Oh, okay.
I believe that was Ted Kennedy.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. Oh. I think the one who came. I think it was Clinton that came out the second time around saying like this guy's fucking awesome or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that might have been it.
It may have been. I don't know. There's multiple speeches where different politicians come out and say I like this guy. You know?
Yeah. Somewhere.
Anyway, but so what was I gonna say? Yeah, but as the movie goes on, so then when he gets out, he's dating Zoe Zeldon, and when he's done, like, she doesn't write back to him. She kind of leaves him once he goes to jail, and she kind of feels bad about it. You see that, But there's a scene that's actually kind of
hilarious. Well, there's a part where I love this part. Christian Bale's like, he gets out of prison and he's kind of like, he's just kind of watching her as she goes to her work, and she works like in a kindergarten or something like that.
You'd be scared if it wasn't Christian Bale. But some other guy, like,
well, he's sitting in his truck, just kind of like doing that thing, like that It looks even creepier too, because you're like, he's looking at a school.
Yeah.
And there's a part where I kind of forgot.
Forrest Whitaker.
I forgot Forrest Whitaker was kind of in the movie until I kind of saw it. So you just see up is like, oh, she's dating some black guy now, and then like. She gets out of the car, they hug, kiss, whatever, and starts walking off. And then Forrest Whitaker just kind of turns and gives like this look.
Looks at the camera.
Yeah, looks right at the camera, looks right at Christian Bale. And Christian Bale's kind of got this look on my face like, holy fuck, she's dating Forrest Whitaker now. And then Forrest Whitaker drives off, but not even breaking contact. Just still looking right at Christian Bale.
Camera, it's not like the camera follows him like it's Christian Bale.
For all you know, there could be an old lady walking in front of him, but he's got this.
He has his Forrest Whitaker powers. He knows, but I think they get across that because they get across later in the movie that they sort of know each other. Like maybe they're acquaintances, they're cool with each other. But the second he starts,
I think because it's like kind of like a small town, so yeah, sort of.
Which I've seen the trailer. I assume this movie maybe took place in Washington or something, but apparently it takes place more in like New York.
Yeah, that's what I was picturing. I think it's
New York or New Jersey.
No,
somewhere.
It's south of New Jersey because they go up It's in the Appalachian Mountains though.
Oh, okay, all right.
But it's somewhere around. They said it, and I just kind of spaced it.
I was assuming somewhere in Washington. I was assuming somewhere in Washington or Oregon, just because
that's what it looks like.
Because all the green, and
but then again, you look at it. Then also you look at two of them. Like once they kind of say, it's like, oh, that does look like the Appalachian Mountains too.
Yeah, and then they also have like Eddie Vedder playing every 5 minutes.
Release me here. It's kind of like the theme of the song. It starts at the beginning and ends with that song.
Well, it starts because at the very beginning it has this weird, very kind of creepy opening of just at a drive-through, Woody Harrelson in a car with this old beat-up muscle car with this lady, and the lady just says the smallest thing, like this tweaker chick just says the smallest thing, like this fucker drives itself. She's like she just laughs. She's like, what's so fucking funny about that? Whenever these kind of scenes happen, you and I are the
Woody Harrelson's just fucking hilarious in this movie. This is my favorite thing. This is why I love dramas, because dramas, in my opinion, have the best comedy in them, and I think it's for the fact that they're not writing a comedy movie, so they're not like, we gotta have a joke every 3 lines. It's just like, we could say some funny shit, and then go back to maybe in a really serious movie.
Yeah, then he's like, give me your hot dog. She's like, but I'm about to eat it. Give me the fucking hot dog. She gives it to him. He pulls out, I was like, open your mouth. She's like,
open your fucking mouth.
He starts like, it's just that part right there. They're playing this creepy music. It's a little awkward to watch. And then this guy's like, hey, is there?
He takes the hot dog and he jams it in her throat and then slams her head into like the dashboard.
And then like that's where it gets a little creepy and kind of like you feel get scared for the girl. That's when some guy's like, hey, is there a problem over here? He says, mind your own fucking business. And they get into a fight. He kicks the shit out of this guy. He's like, fuck all y'all. Gets back into his car,
rips the girl out,
drives off. And then they have like the slow release me. Yeah, like title comes in. It's like I still like that opening. But it just seems so weird, kind of like this really dark opening, and then just like release me. You know,
Woody Harrelson's just fucking amazing in this movie. I mean, both him and Christian Bale are great, and then so is Casey Affleck's really good, and so is Forrest Whitaker and everyone else. But really, I mean, Christian Bale, but Woody Harrelson's just that. Oh, his character's just...
Yeah, his character. Plus, it's one of those characters it's one of those things, this might be a case of the actor. I mean, generally, I'd kind of hate that type of character, but since Woody Harrelson...
you almost like want to love him.
Yeah,
It sounds so weird, but...
Because he's not redeemable or likable in any aspects.
Yeah, what's up? It's Woody Harrelson.
It's Woody Harrelson. It's like, oh, he's just having a bad Tuesday. That's all it is with Woody right now. And then it just... There's like, so what ends up happening is, at some point, you see that his brother's in debt working with William Dafoe. And earlier I want to say, in a couple of podcasts back, when I turned this movie, I mentioned like Tom Waits was in the movie. They just didn't say his name. It was just William Dafoe. He just looks
from a strange angle.
From a strange angle, because he just looks that fucking haggard right now. But,
he has such a weird kind of haircut too. Like his hair's combed back, and then it like all fluffs out in the back.
He looked like Tom Waits to me, because there's a scene when they're getting out of the car, heading towards like the abandoned mill out in the redneck land. Mm-hmm. It looked like Tom Waits from a certain angle, so I was like, oh, never mind, he ain't in this movie. That's too bad.
Seems like a Tom Waits movie, but yeah.
Woody Harrelson, not Woody, William Dafoe still did a great job. And what's cool about William Dafoe is he's playing a bookie, and usually bookies are irredeemable, unlikable people, but in this movie, he's actually like, yeah, I'm doing some illegal shit, but he's still kind of looking out for Casey Affleck.
Yeah, he's trying to still be a good guy.
He's like, yeah, I'm doing a little bit of illegal shit. I'm trying to earn him a little bit of money, trying to make myself a little bit of money. I don't want him getting too wrapped up in too much danger. So it's and that's what's kind of likable about him.
Yeah.
And then what was I gonna say regarding that? Like, he keeps on, like, Casey Affleck, he keeps on, like, needed to fall, because what happens is they're doing, like, illegal fights, because the movie advertised, like, it's the whole movie. This is
this is like Fight Club of, like, hillbilly land.
Yeah, but that's just the very end in just one scene, really.
Well, yeah, there's like 2 or 3 fights in that whole movie.
Yeah, there's one where he's supposed to there's like an abandoned mill in their area, which he doesn't throw, which sets William Dafoe back, but he's like, I can't stay mad at you, Casey Affleck, get over here, give me a hug, you know? And later,
and then, well, it's pretty much like the thing's like, he's like, I need to make some real money. I need to go up to the hillbilly zone. That's where I can make my money. Willem Dafoe, help me out. You know, Casey Affleck does not talk like that. He's kind of like, hi, I'm a fighter.
I had 4 tours in Iraq. Yeah,
4 tours in Iraq. I seen shit. I had to carry my buddy's legs and his body on the same thing. He's got a weird voice. I don't know what it is. It's just kind of.
I wonder if, like, as soon as he walks in the room, like, when they're, like, casting the movie, like, Christian Bale and, like, says, like, Casey, can you give me a minute? I just want to talk to the producers real quick. He's like, all right. Just walks out. Like, or he's more like, all right, fellas, I'll be right back. Just walks on out. Turns to the producers. He dies by the end of this fucking movie. It's like, what do you mean, Christian? It says you save him before that. No, he fucking dies. Why does he die? Because his brother is taking over my role, and I want to send a message.
Send Ben Affleck a fish in a newspaper.
So, but no, then what ends up happening, though, within that scene...
Casey Affleck's like, okay, Willem Dafoe, take me to Hillbilly Zone so I can do the underground fight. And then Woody Harrelson gets there and is like, okay, well, pretty much prove if you're good enough, you take a fall.
Yeah.
Which, in bare knuckle boxing, seems like the worst thing. I'm like, oh, I take a fall in bare knuckle. Regular boxing's one thing.
Well,
but...
it plays it off like he's about to win. He's about to say, fuck this guy. And, like, William Dafoe's like, no, don't do it, Casey Affleck. And then he's like, the last minute, he's like, all right. And he gets his face fucking pounded in.
Well, you look at what happened. Like, if I was there betting on that fight, I'd be like, oh, what the fuck? That guy just totally threw it. He just picked the guy up and then he was kicking his ass the whole time, and then all of a sudden, he's not blocking. What the fuck's going on? Like, to me when I was watching, I was like, somebody's got to think that's a scam going on.
Because he falls on top of him and he whispers in his ear for a second.
Yeah, it's like, what was this, professional wrestling?
They're all a bunch of methed out hillbillies. Maybe they don't know the fucking difference.
You know, there's got to be somebody there's not methed out. I'm just here for the money.
There's like the one well-educated guy with a monocle just watching in the corner. I'm just here for the sport, not for the brouhaha, you know. Brouhaha. No, then something to get across is like Christian Bale being a really good guy. He's just trying to help pay off his brother's debt. He even goes and visits William Dafoe once or twice, trying to pay off his brother's debt for him. And then he ends up, while they're there, he takes one. He doesn't look drunk, but he takes one big gulp of like some scotch and leaves. And then within that scene, that's when next scene he's driving. A lady backs out without looking, and that's when he hits the car, killing this wife and this mom and this kid in the back of the car. Mm-hmm. And that's when he's in prison for who knows how long. Well,
when I first saw that scene, I was like, why the fuck is he in prison? Because I didn't put two and two together. I was like, she fucking pulled out in front of him. Like, when does somebody get sent to prison for that? And then later on, it's like, Forrest Whitaker's like, because you had some alcohol in you. It's just like, oh. Like one drink, but yeah, I guess I guess that's where it's like that sort of like I guess that'd probably be like one of those ones like in every other case if it would have been one of those ones like no it's not your fault, that's just shit that happens, you know.
Yeah,
she just happened to pull out the wrong moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just since he had just a bit of alcohol in him, they can kind of pull that card
because they didn't make him look like he was drunk, he wasn't staggering around. They made him seem like a fairly responsible person.
He just seemed like a regular person. Like we go back to Grandpa's days where they used to stop by and have a cocktail on the road. Like
yeah,
that's all it was.
Going back to that. Which, it seemed like that part was, I think that, because you hear those stories where a guy does, because if he was totally hammered, he probably would have got at least 10 years.
Yeah, and I think that's, yeah.
So, I think that right there was more something like, all right, well, just to look like there's some form of justice served, because it would look better in the newspaper, we got to give you 2 years at least.
Yeah, something like that.
Something around
and because, he was kind of in, like, it didn't seem like he was in, like, just kind of like a regular prison, not like a state penitentiary or something like that.
Yeah. Which you feel so fucking bad for him in this movie. You do. And he's a guy who's just trying to get by.
And then his dad passes away while he's in prison, so he can't see him, and he can't go to his funeral and all things like that.
When he gets out, that's when he finds out, goes back to Zoe Saldana, and there's this really great scene between the two of them, where they're just talking to each other. He says, look, I really love you, I really miss you, can we just make this happen? And then she just has this look of just so much guilt and says she's pregnant. And instead of being kind of like, whose dick did you suck on it? Just freaking out on her. He's like very... He's
very understandable. He's
crying.
He's just a nice guy.
And he's like, I understand. You'll make a great mother. And he's crying and she's crying too. He hugs and they just leave. And it's heartbreaking. And then what ends up happening is that's when... his brother, well, by then he finds out the mill is closing. The mill he works.
Yeah.
Which his brother says, come work with me at the mill. And the brothers are like, fuck the mill, I ain't going to the mill. And then he's like,
the mill killed Dad!
And right there, here's just kind of funny. He's just like, don't you talk about the mill! Because he's so defensive of that mill.
That mill's what brought us up!
Yeah, that mill is your other brother. That mill is the uncle that never touched you.
Yeah.
But then what ends up happening is then we kind of covered it from there. The brother goes up to that fight, never comes back, and the trailer.
And then even the nice thing though is the brother even sends us letters apologizing that
I didn't mean what I said about the mill.
Yeah.
The mill is a good guy.
I wouldn't apologize to the mill yesterday. He accepted it.
Here's the shot his wife while Christian Bale is reading.
She's just talking to the mill.
Yeah, this shot of while he's reading the letter, just everything he's saying. You see Affleck just going patting the mill or hugging from the side with the sad music. It probably would have killed the momentum of that scene probably right before he got shot in the head by Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
Which is another thing it kind of left it open ended. You weren't really sure from the trailer, but right after he loses the fight, they just take him out in the woods and just shoot him.
Yeah, because Willem Dafoe didn't pay. Woody Harrelson back.
Yeah, he's like, well, me throwing this fight was the pay. Fuck you. He's like, okay. That's one of those things, shit's gonna go bad.
Yeah.
You've even seen the trailer. But just that Woody Harrelson, oh, I must have got confused. He's like, he just
a lollipop in his mouth.
He just walks out the room. Okay, then, The cinematography in this movie was just beautiful.
Oh, it's got great cinematography in it, though. Good shots. There's just a lot of stuff going for this one.
I totally dug it. I want to see Crazy Heart. Same director.
Oh, yeah, that is. That's a pretty good one. Not as good as The Wrestler. It's kind of like the same story.
This reminds me of The Wrestler. Just the way how it was, just a lot of the cold shots.
Yeah.
A lot of just kind of, because it's a lot of just lingering what's going on in this dude's life, rather than just the exciting things, which is what The Wrestler was. Mm-hmm. I want to go on the ending, because I'm not 100% sure on what the ending was. Because what ends up happening is he ends up calling Woody Harrelson to meet him up. They end up going at it. Kills Woody Harrelson, then it cuts to black. Forrest Whitaker was there to see it. And then we get this...
No! Don't shoot him! Don't shoot him!
And it cuts to black. Reopens again. And then Christian Bale is sitting in just his house in a dark room. And it's hard to tell. And then it just fades out to black again and goes to credits with Release Me once again playing. Mm-hmm. Now... You guys said you saw. I know earlier he had a tattoo that said
when he was in prison after he heard that his father died, he got a tattoo of his dad's name on there.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you see his arm out, I can't tell because it's dark, but it looked like it had a bunch of dried up blood. So on his arm.
Well, he had the name of his brother, which was
we had the same name as
Richard.
It was
Rodney.
The dad was Rodney Sr. So he had both. So
yeah.
They said on the gravestone when they went to go visit.
I guess that's true.
So, and it didn't look like... I remember just being a small name somewhere on his, bicep, where it looks like his whole lower arm may have had dried up blood on it. So I'm not sure.
To me, what it looks like he tattooed himself, and he just kind of was bleeding. And it was just kind of like that thing where he just kind of, eased back in the chair, and that. And
the reason I think if he did kill himself is because... they said, look, don't go to that neighborhood, because at some point he goes to the neighborhood and tries to track down Woody Harrelson. Mm-hmm. Then he comes back and all the law enforcement's don't do it. Don't fucking do it. And then, sure enough, Forrest Whitaker finds out. Mm-hmm. And when all this shit's going down, because Christian Bale accidentally gets someone killed during this whole situation. Accidentally. He doesn't kill him, but he gets him killed, basically, through, setting up the whole situation. Mm-hmm. And then he goes out there, and Forrest Whitaker sees him shoot him with a weapon.
Sniper rifle.
Sniper rifle. Yeah, weapon.
Which there's the one thing that's kind of weird is like, there's a part where Woody Harrelson's running away, and I'm like, okay, if Christian Bale had maybe a handgun, it would have been different. But he's got a fucking sniper rifle. Why is he chasing him still?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's probably for dramatic tension or stuff, but there's always that one point sometimes it moves.
There is that beautiful shot where he's running in the
it's in the trailer and everything too, but it's just those ones that's like, he's got a fucking sniper rifle. It's not like he's sitting there with, a hand, gun or a sword or something where you gotta run up and get him.
It did have it was kind of like he was kind of toying with him, kind of playing with him, because he'd shoot him once, he'd get up, he'd walk a little more.
Well, I think there was that scene with the uncle where they go to hunt the deer, and I think it had something to do with that kind of scene, because you know how the deer, you track them down and two guys go in different directions. Mm-hmm. I think that's why he was doing it like that. So he's doing it like he was chasing the deer into a trap, sort of.
I didn't even think of that, but yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking of, why that shot was in there. And Christian Bale doesn't kill the deer. His uncle does,
that made me...
But he does kill Woody Harrelson.
Yeah. Well, that was one of those things. It's kind of like, even though I liked Christian, I'm not big on hunting. It's just not my thing, And I'm not saying, if you're a hunter, you're an asshole, but it's not my thing. But it's when he actually had the gun drawn on that deer and he didn't shoot him, I just like this guy that much more.
He's got compassion.
Yeah. But the thing, I think, is really, he has no real... Zoe Saldana's pregnant. Casey Affleck's dead.
His dad's
dead. The mill's Uncle Mill is closing.
Uncle Mill's closed down.
And then,
he still got his really nice, friendly uncle, though, who's a great guy, too.
Yeah. He has him.
Not Uncle Mill, but the uncle.
The other uncle.
Yeah, the other uncle.
Yeah. But then,
my dad had two brothers. He had, Uncle Bill, and he had Uncle Mill.
Uncle Bill and Uncle Mill. No, but, and then Forrest Whitaker's there to see him shoot him, so maybe that's, and maybe there's some kind of law process, maybe within that time he slid his wrist.
I'm not going back to prison kind of thing.
Possibly, I don't know, I gotta watch it again, or it'd be harder to see on a smaller screen, possibly.
Well, that's what I thought too, I was like, well, if you didn't catch it on the big screen, it's really fucking hard to catch it on the small screen.
Yeah.
So you can pause it.
Keep in mind, that could be totally me just misseeing something. It just looked like he had some dried up blood on his wrist. I'm not sure, though.
So it's a toss-up.
Yeah, either way, it was a good movie. Either way, I think the ending's good.
Yeah, no matter what, it's sweet. Mm-hmm. But what did you think about that Sabotage trailer for Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Oh, I want to see that.
I saw that when it first came out because the Arnold fans posted it up on the internet. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this is fucking awesome.
I wish they played Beastie Boys Sabotage.
I know that. When I saw it, I was like, I wonder if they're going to play that during it, because that'd be badass.
Yeah.
But that one just still looks sweet. I can't wait for that.
Looks good. It looks like a gory, violent...
shoot 'em up.
Arnold flick.
Chasing down drug cartels of some sort.
Then there's also the Lone Survivor movie, which...
What's that one again?
It's like they're in Afghanistan.
Oh, is that the one with Marky Mark?
Marky Mark. Which that movie by itself, it's like the story alone, it could be a good movie, but it has so many actors I like, and it has Emil Hirsch, has Marky Mark, has is it James Foster's, or it's
Jane Foster?
No, it's a guy. Nick Foster. He was
Nick Frost.
Nick Frost. Yeah, Nick Frost. No, he was the guy. He's in a lot of stuff. This isn't exactly his best role, but he was Angel in X-Men 3. He played like the methed out brother in Alpha Dog. He was also Jason Statham.
For some reason, I was picturing like a kids movie. I was like, Alpha Dog, methed out brother.
Like a CG.
I'm like, I guess we've got to that point.
Like DreamWorks shit.
Yeah, like a CG, kind of like the Underdog movie or something like that.
No, but then there's what was it? There's the remake of The Mechanic, Jason Statham remake, and he was the sidekick that was learning.
Yeah, I know
that guy. I really like that actor a lot.
Yeah,
have you ever seen 3:10 to Yuma?
No, I've never seen that one. Both, not the old one or the new one.
Check out the new one. He plays Russell Crowe's sidekick. He does a great job in that movie. He's a really good actor. And then plus Eric Bana, which he's not my... He's one of those people, he doesn't automatically sell a movie for me, but if he's in it, oh cool, Eric Bana. Munich.
Yeah, he's in quite a bit.
And then Troy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm interested in that one too.
There's a couple other trailers.
There's a bunch of trailers.
I saw Sabotage one. That one just kind of erased all the other ones.
You got tunnel vision on Sabotage.
Yeah.
I want to see that, yeah. So... Well, it looks kind of like... What the Sabotage trailer kind of looked like to me, just in the style. I mean, who knows, when we see it might be different, but it looks kind of like Crank. the kind of colors, the character.
Sort of. I didn't have like the super fast paced action. I felt it Crank. I mean, I know it's a trailer, so it's gonna feel faster.
But I mean, maybe the way some of the characters kind of look, some of the camera angles. To me, it looked kind of like a Crank movie, sort of. It's probably. I know it's not gonna be that exact.
I want the Crank guys like they haven't made a movie like the last couple movies they made. They either kind of just did like they either produced it or they just wrote it, but they haven't really sat down and did like a writing, directing. Or if they have, I just haven't seen one yet.
Yeah, I really want those guys.
Because I every once in a while I'll be like, oh, I'll see their name attached to something. Because every movie they're ever attached to says, "For the guys that brought you Crank." It's like, oh.
Yeah. Which they kind of, it's weird, because they always, it's very rare. I think Crank's the only one where they wrote and directed it. And Gamer, I think they wrote and directed Gamer.
Yeah, Gamer was their other one.
Gamer was good, I liked Gamer.
Because there are three movies pretty much in a sense, is Crank, Crank 2, and Gamer. And then every other movie they've ever been in, it's either like they just do a section of it. They're not like the main course, I guess.
Well, they directed
Jonah
Ghost Rider
Hex
2.
They wrote, I want to say.
Which that was unfortunate, because I was really looking forward to Jonah Hex.
And then Ghost Rider 2, they directed, but I don't think they wrote. I could be wrong.
I want, when I got to write and direct, I want those guys to make a Street Fighter movie.
I think they do a great job.
They do an amazing Street Fighter movie.
You know, those guys, they need to get more work though. Because I think they're just really their name.
But it can't just be
Neville
writing.
and Taylor. That's what they are. They don't have fucking first names.
It can't just be writing though. They need at least.
No, they need to write and direct it.
You know, or at least get, or if you want it, or I don't even know how competent they are in writing that, but just at least direct a Street Fighter movie. Get someone like, I don't know, even Edgar Wright to write it or something like that. You know. And then there's another trailer which. The trailer makes it look a little better. I still don't know if this movie needs to get made, but who knows? There's the Need for Speed trailer.
Oh yeah,
that movie's like we're taking it so seriously.
It's so serious. Need for Speed, the drama you've been waiting for.
Like Aaron Paul, he's a good actor. I love him in Breaking Bad, but there's in that trailer though, he looks so kind of like very intense. I am acting so serious. Yeah. And then
it's like, you think they would sell the Need for Speed movie as more like, hey, we got some cars, bro. Let's go down and race them.
Which
the cops are coming. Whoa! Need for Speed. Yeah.
So like from the guys that brought you the carpool. You know, remember that '90s movie, The Carpool?
I don't know if I remember that one.
It was such a fucking '90s kids movie. Just the way you were, that was a '90s
movie. I mean, not Disney, but
no, it was like I only saw the end
of
it.
MTV movie.
No, it was a kids movie.
Oh, okay.
It was like I remember the trailer for it, and then I saw like the last like 20 minutes of it, and somehow this guy's carpooling these kids. They get into wild and wacky adventure. You know,
that actually sounds kind of familiar now that you mention it. Because it's a guy who has to drive around a bunch of kids to school or something, and somehow, some way, they get sidetracked. Yeah,
and then in the trailer, I saw like the last 10 minutes, and at some point it's like, well, I gotta get to this board meeting, and the kid's like, we'll help you out. So there's all like these old square guys in suits, kind of like, we gotta find out what kids want. This is something, we're coming out with some product for kids. The kid's like, we know what they want, you know.
For the kids to work.
The kids just get sold into child slavery. Well, the kids come in there, they're like, we don't understand the young people of this generation. The kids come in and basically save this
90s.
guy. Yeah. The kids basically come in and save this guy's job through like talking to all like these fucking Dick Cheney lookalikes.
Like that movie, actually, now that you mention it, it sounds kind of familiar. Like, I think I have seen at least parts of it.
Mm-hmm. Which I kind of want to see them do remakes of certain 90s movies, just give them like the realistic dark twist. I don't remember what it's called, but there's the movie where like, oh, the parents aren't getting along and fighting, let's get a divorce. So the kids throw them in the basement until they get along and have a crazy house party until... Do you remember that one?
That sounds familiar, too. It's like, I can't think of what it's called or anything.
One of them...
One's like, you're not coming out till you settle this, Mom, Dad.
Well, it's like a couple kids in the neighborhood all throw their parents in the basement, have a camera.
It actually just sounds like one of the scary things. Sounds like those ones like, the children are taking over.
But it's like, at the very end, it's one of those things, we are grateful for the kids actually did this, because it brought us all closer and yada, all that bullshit.
Kids are smarter than adults.
Yeah, and then like, one of the dads, you know that, because one of the dads was Shooter McGavin.
That's badass, I love that guy. Thomas Hayden Church.
Yeah. Was that, Thomas Hayden, that's his name, Thomas Hayden Church? Could have sworn that was somebody else.
The guy from Sideways?
Oh, wait, I mean, no, wait.
That's Shooter McGavin.
Shooter McGavin's the director? He directed the guy. Shooter McGavin is a director?
No.
What?
No, he's an actor.
Thomas Hayden Church. Oh, okay.
Name?
Well, who was he?
Sounds
in Sideways?
Like a director's name.
Who was he in Sideways?
The guy who's not.
He's not Sandman.
The actor guy, yeah.
I don't think because I think we're confusing two people. Like Sandman and the guy from Happy Gilmore. Because Sandman he's Sandman in Spider-Man 3, and then I think that's two separate people, isn't it?
I can't remember. Is he Sandman? I don't think he's Sandman.
Turn around, grab like any Adam Sandler movie you can find. We will settle this right now.
Am I in the comedy section over here?
It's looking H for happy, unless...
I know.
See here. Shit,
everything's unorganized.
It is all very unorganized right now.
Well,
Let's see here.
God damn it.
I don't see... Wait, he's in Fanboys. He's in Fanboys. See if he's on the back of Fanboys.
Where's Fanboys at?
Fanboys in F in comedy. Going up. Up. It's right next to Family Guy. This has to be thrilling for the audience. There you go. He has to be in that somewhere. I think it's two separate guys.
No, he's not on the back of this one because there's too many other characters in that one.
I don't think that's the same guy. I'm pretty sure it's somebody different.
What the fuck is Spider-Man? Oh, there's Spider-Man 3.
That's Thomas Hayden Church in Spider-Man 3. Yes, I own Spider-Man 3. Don't judge.
Hey, I own it too.
Yeah. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the audience. They give a shit. I don't know.
No, that's Shooter McGavin.
That's Shooter McGavin?
Yeah.
I feel fucking dumb. He looks different. Anyway, but yeah.
I think he just got buffed for that movie.
Maybe he did get buffed for that movie.
I've only seen that movie twice, so it's kind of like...
I guess I recognize him with the shooter hair, so I don't know.
Same guy also in SLC Punk, the dad.
Yeah, SLC Punk. Yeah, I thought that was two separate people this whole fucking time.
No.
Yeah, anyway. But no, yeah, well, anyway, he's one of the dads, so you know that he's one of the bad guys. At the very end, all the police come in, they find out they've been holding the kid's been holding down there, and slapping her wrist. Oh, the kids are all good after that, you know.
No harm done.
Yeah. So, just kind of want to see the realistic version of that.
Yeah, just take those 90s movies and make something else out of them.
Like, you know, like say like some road trip movie where a kid takes a fucking monkey with him. At some point, the monkey loses its shit and just tries like gnaws the kid's face off.
And then the monkey kills somebody else, and then the kid and the monkey are like, "Fuck, we just killed somebody. Now we're in it together. We gotta go to Mexico, monkey. You gotta drive though, man. I'm only 12. I don't even got a license."
There's like the monkey's clearly more qualified.
Put on this bowler's cap. Everybody will think you're an adult.
Yeah, put on this trench coat when we go in the public.
We'll get
sunglasses. Like, are you like they get to the border? Are you a monkey, senor? Like, okay, you may go on through. You know, good thinking, Popo.
And the monkey like pulls out the cop's gun and shoots him. No, monkey, no, not another one. This monkey just has a killing spree.
The kid's kind of like a hostage of the monkey. If the kid doesn't do what the monkey says, the monkey even talks to the kid. Like,
pretty much, the kid doesn't know what the monkey says. He just ends up killing somebody else.
The monkey, it's almost like Lassie. He'll be like, he's like, no, I don't think that's such a good idea. And the monkey starts like slamming his fist against the dashboard and losing shit. Okay, we'll drop him off the bridge.
The monkey pulls into oncoming traffic.
Plays chicken with other cars
until he gets his way.
Fuck, this is so much better than any of those other road trip movies. I'm thinking Born to Be Wild. I think that was the one I was thinking of.
I was thinking of Duncan checks in, or
Duncan, or what? Me and Duncan.
Dunstan checks in, yeah.
Dunstan checks in. Then there's the one where there's like a girl and her pet seal. I think it's called Andre and Me.
Huh.
I never saw it, but I remember just blatantly seeing, because always was like, these kids befriend an animal, you know, because they can't relate to anybody else.
Yeah.
They go on a cross-country road trip.
Mm-hmm. And the monkey ends up killing me.
Yeah. That was actually the main inspiration for Grit.
Is Dunstan Chestnut.
Yeah. Yeah, Dunstan, I was like, well, Dunstan really loses shit at some point where a gas mask just start murdering everybody. So.
And this kid's just stuck with him.
Yeah.
He can't turn back now. Now he's a wanted criminal. And you got the FBI tracking him down and everything.
Yeah. I want to see that. That's the reason I made Grit, because this movie was never made.
They need to bring back the monkey movies again.
Yeah, well, they have these little spurts of kind of like, you don't really put together when you're a kid. You just think, oh, these are so much movies coming out. But now you realize, no, it is kind of like one person made a monkey movie, so they got to make a couple other monkey movies. And then, oh, wait, Free Willy did good, so we got to make a movie where a girl befriends a seal. And then you get like another movie, and like the whole March of the Penguins thing. That started like a couple of Penguin movies for a few years.
Really what happens though when those like fads come on is it's not that like people go like, oh, this one Mars movie did good, so let's make a couple more. I think it's just one of those ones like one Mars movie gets picked up, and then these other guys who had scripts just as long as everybody else are picked up right away too. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of happens that way.
Like,
because remember when the Mars movies were popular,
Mission to Mars.
I can't remember which one was the first one, but there's the 3 Mars movies. I think it was Mission to Mars, Red Planet, and Ghost to Mars.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 ones. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember. It's either Red Planet. I want to say Ghost to Mars wasn't the first one. I want to say that was like the 3rd one of them all.
I think it may have been Mission to Mars or Red Planet.
Yeah. I get those 2 confused because I haven't seen them in so long.
Even though
I'd really like to see them again, though.
All 3 of them are Mars movies, but they're all 3 really different. Because Mission to
yeah.
Mars is more of like a classic, kind of like old school space movie. Red Planet is like...
Is that the one that has kind of like the weird fucking twist like at like the end?
What happens is they find out like Mars there's like some kind of like plant that's been forming on Mars, and you can breathe. They all think they're dying. They're running out of air. And they rip off their helmets and like, oh, we can breathe on Mars. It's
Yeah, that's weird. The one that's got the weird twist.
And then that happens like in the like first third of the movie. By the first third of the movie's over. And then there's like a robot they brought with them that lost its shit. That's running around.
Oh yeah, that's right. I saw every single one of these ones in the theaters, but I think that was like other than Ghost of Mars, I've seen that one multiple times. Mm-hmm. The other 2 I think I've only seen once.
Yeah.
And Ghost of Mars most movies, people always give it kind of crap. They're like, that's like one of the downfalls of John Carpenter. It's like, I don't know.
I've never seen that one.
I should let you borrow it. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Jason Statham, that's before he was big, right?
Yeah, Jason was like, oh, I'm an asshole in this movie. And fuck you.
He was that before he was the transporter. He was kind of like, I'm the right-hand man, mate. Or he was also really good. I love him in Snatch.
Yeah.
Because he's still kind of like a badass, but he's not really like he doesn't really bust your face in or nothing like that.
And Pam Grier's in that one too.
Yeah, I was about to ask.
She kind of dies right at the beginning, but she's like the main leader of this mission, and then she dies. And
I think it's kind of one of those things. Let's just put her in here so we can say we had Pam Grier.
Well, she must have just came right off of Jackie Brown.
Which I think they were playing. Jackie Brown's going to bring her back, but maybe it is one of those things. Like, that didn't go as planned. But even though
kind of like it's like the forgotten Quentin Tarantino movie.
I love Jackie Brown. Don't get me wrong, but of all the Quentin Tarantino movies I have, even though Death Proof is my least favorite, I've seen Jackie Brown less times actually.
I've only seen Jackie Brown once. I need to sit down and watch it again. I liked it when I watched it.
I watched it
the only about the movie. It was one of those movies where it's like, this could be way shorter though. That was like the one thing about that movie. It's a real long drawn out movie.
Isn't like 2.5 hours almost or something like that? And the thing is because it's a heist film, and I love heist films. It's a good movie. Don't get me wrong; it has great writing, but it is one of those things like the heist is so much simpler than what they're planning it out for be.
Well, that and then that's the weird thing about the movie too is it's actually like the least violent Quentin Tarantino one. There's like cutaways and stuff, and you're like, what the fuck?
Well, that one was actually Quentin Tarantino changed it, but it was based on a book.
Yeah.
And he actually he apparently the book wasn't a blaxploitation. Apparently he made it a blaxploitation, which he's Quentin Tarantino in the 90s. Who the fuck's gonna tell him what he can do or can't do?
It's not like a super black exploitation. It's more kind of like a it's not, I guess, like an out there, like a Superfly kind of thing. Like
no,
it's more like
it makes nods to
it just kind of it makes some nods, and it just happens to have like the main cast be mostly black.
Which I think Django Unchained. I think Django Unchained's more of a blaxploitation.
I'd say that one's more black exploitation than this.
And I love Django Unchained.
Well, that was an amazing movie.
Yeah,
it's weird when you hear somebody say like they didn't like that movie. I've heard a couple people tell me that, and I'm like, really?
Well, I think it's a couple things. I think some people found the movie kind of racist, which you can debate that, and then other people, I think they just. You get people who like their old-fashioned westerns. In that movie, it had rap music. It had like Kill Bill amounts of blood when someone got shot.
Mm-hmm. What's funny is like westerns are really like the original violent movies, though. They're like the first ones that ever really kind of exploit that a little bit more than others.
Well, I think it was like one of the only times I've seen the western that wasn't an exploitation movie where there's blood literally covered. Even though I love that shot, but after they start playing that Tupac. It was that Tupac James Brown mashup where he's killing all the people in the plantation house. Mm-hmm. He gets up and there's just blood all over the fucking walls.
The whole house.
That is like my favorite part of that movie right there.
Oh, that's just great.
Yeah, so I still love that movie. I think it's awesome, but
well, yeah.
Some people just didn't. I mean, you know.
Well, there's some people just don't like Quentin Tarantino movies in general.
Yeah, like, well, that was one movie that I think if you don't like Quentin Tarantino, assuming you don't mind violence in long movies, I think you'd like that because a friend of mine who's not a Quentin Tarantino fan liked it, and plus it moved in a chronological pace.
Right, and so because sometimes the one problem I guess some Quentin Tarantino movies have that might throw more people off is the fact that like they can go from being real fast action movies to being real slow and like the pacing is not always the smoothest in all of them. Yeah. So I think that sometimes bothers people in them. Like, this one has a very fluid pace.
Which I still really like Inglourious Bastards, but I think I like Jackie Brown more than Inglourious Bastards looking back on it because That seems to not movie. That movie doesn't seem to be as balanced out as it should.
Well, my only problem with there's just one problem I kind of have with Inglourious Basterds, and it's the chapter 3.
Chapter 3 is very long.
It's just long, and there's nothing really when it gets down to it. It sort of kind of explains like what's going on, but it's a real drawn out way to explain something that could almost be said in like a 3-line, scene or shot.
I think that it's also kind of like I'm not trying to like tell Quentin Tarantino how to run his shit, but
yeah.
I think it is one of those things like if the movie wasn't called Inglourious Basterds, maybe a little bit more forgiving because the Bastards aren't really in the movie that much.
No, I think that's
in the long scope. They're in it as much as anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just that I think it's supposed to, if that scene was just really cut down to like exactly what it's supposed to be saying. So let's just say it was 5 minutes instead of being like 25 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
I think the movie would go so much smoother. It's just that part right there is just where like, let's put the brakes on really quickly.
And plus it's also, maybe it's Quentin Tarantino trying to screw with the audience, but they say, remember like Brad Pitt's speech, like, I need 12 men. We get to know about 7 of those men.
Yeah.
And, because there's about, like, I guess, the rest of the guys, they're there, but you don't really get to know them so much.
They're just kind of forgotten right off the bat.
Yeah.
And then it really just kind of focuses more on about, like, 3 to 5 guys most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Which, don't get me wrong, those 3 to 5 guys are pretty awesome.
Well, yeah.
But, yeah. It's, good flick. I still really like that one a lot.
No, I really like it, but there's that one scene that I always come to that one. It's like, that's the one part of that movie where it just kind of like...
And I'm fine with that, with the characters in that scene. It's just a little longer than it needs to be.
Yeah, and it's just, to me, it really is kind of... that there's just the producer's sitting there going like, fuck, this is one of those scenes where like nothing happens, but he's leaving it in there.
It's like, it's Quentin. We can't tell Quentin
now it's at the point where it's like, fuck, he makes us money, so we can't do anything about it.
I think that was his first time over. I'm not sure if I don't think Harvey Weinstein produced that one, actually.
Well, because that one's
by
like
Universal.
Yeah, which is kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. Which I think they were back with. That's probably the reason why I went over there. They probably wanted, like, you gotta trim out number 3, like, chapter 3. It's like, fuck you, I'm going to Universal. I'm guessing. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Or, yeah, who knows? Probably not, but yeah.
People probably didn't say fuck you. So, all right, I understand. They're probably good because they produced his next movie. So
yeah, so probably not that big of a deal. But
he says he's working on, like, a little bit ago. He came out with this thing saying his whole writing process. Like, it's got to be good to be Quentin Tarantino. It's like, what's your writing process? And it's
I sit against the back of a wall and I chuck a baseball back and forth.
I take my cues from Steve McQueen.
Yeah, The Great Escape.
No, but it just sounds kind of like, all right, that's what I expect him to say, but it's not helpful whatsoever. He says, well, generally what I do is I take my time. I get up around, 9, 10 o'clock maybe, usually 9 o'clock. I'll write from that time till about 4, maybe 5. I'll sit by my pool. I'll swim for a little while. Go get something to eat. Go back to writing. Maybe have a drink while I write. And then go call it a day and go to bed.
For some reason, I picture him strange enough being that kind of... Like, the way that I would almost picture him... I mean, that probably is how he does it. I don't see why he'd just make shit... Well, it's Quentin Tarantino, but, like... I don't see why he just totally makes stuff up, but I can almost see him being one of those kind of guys who just, like, gets these ideas going and then just sits down and writes it out pretty darn fast, and then goes back and rewrites it a couple times, and then turns it in.
Well, it's like, it's one of those things like, yeah, I'm just really relaxed. That's the best way to do it when you're relaxed. Like, we're not like Quentin Tarantino. We don't all have mansions and pools in L.A.
Yeah, relax.
He said something that he did, though, and this is kind of interesting. He says he writes it out, before he writes it as a script, the rough draft of the story, he'll write it out in novel. Like, it's a novel.
Huh. That's an interesting way. That's probably the best way to go about it, because you could probably just write, like, 30 pages or something like that and really kind of describe your movie and then go back and write as a big full script.
Yeah.
All the dialogue and what have you in it.
But the thing about Quentin Tarantino, even though I like him a lot, he does seem to kind of like, oh, I really want to do this, and then he kind of like just drops it and then like never comes back to it, or by the time he comes back it's been too late. I mean, Kill Bill took like 10 years to come out. Same with Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah, well, I think like a lot of directors, they always kind of like...
Not 10, maybe 7.
You make your first movie and then you're like, oh, I got like 10 scripts in the back of my head, you know what I mean? Like, and I think because Robert Rodriguez even said it too, like Planet Terror, he had that since like El Mariachi. Like all those ideas were all kind of there, and then you just later on, you just keep making movies. You pick one, go with it, pick the next one, go with it, and then also you finally get back to like, you know, your older ideas.
Plus, I think it's one of those things, I think that, not saying that they didn't have those ideas before, I think it's just one of those things that they're more like, they're they're more vocal. Quentin Tarantino seems to be more vocal. Quentin Tarantino, Guillermo del Toro seem more vocal about what they want to do next. And then by the time they sometimes don't go back to that thing, you know what I mean? Because things happen. So it's people like, why don't you ever do this? Like, well, it was something I think they just share their ideas a lot more than other people. And
it's just like this idea comes to their head, they say it, and then next thing, well,
yeah. Pulp Fiction 2, not so sure.
Yeah.
Because he was talking about making, I don't know if it was Pulp Fiction 2, but it was about like Vincent Vega and Mr. Blonde.
Oh yeah, that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago, and by the time he came around and said, nah, not gonna happen because they're too old now, and he's been talking about Kill Bill 3 and all that, so.
Yeah, the Kill Bill 3 keeps always getting tossed up every single time. Which, that could be cool.
Which he said his next one, he's going to be more of a straightforward Western.
Huh.
So.
Who knows? I'd like to see him do a sci-fi. I don't know if he's a big sci-fi fan, because he never talks about sci-fi movies, really.
He doesn't really. He said that.
But that's like the one genre I feel like he hasn't touched yet.
He said in a like right when I don't remember. I think it was right before Inglourious Basterds came out. He came out with this list. He posted online, and it was a video camera on him, and he was just saying his top 25 favorite movies
since he started directing.
And he said, like, my number one is, I think his number one was Battle Royale. And then he said, he just kind of went down the list in alphabetical order. He says, I really can't pick that many of like which one I like more because love these so much.
It was like Fight Club was in there.
Fight Club was in there.
Matrix.
7 was in there. And the thing when he got to Matrix though, he said, I want to say this about Matrix real quick. Matrix would be my number 2, but I disliked 2 and 3 so much. It almost ruined it for me, but I can't deny how much I love Matrix 1, so it's still on the list, even though it's not exactly number 2. Which, I'm like, well, not everyone liked Matrix 2. I still like 2 and 3 a lot.
2 and 3, it's one of those ones, I try to think about it multiple times while watching it, like, how somebody could not like 2 and 3
if you like
1. And I'm like, I cannot figure it out. Like, what? There's nothing different about them. It's just more story added to it. More action, more Matrix.
I think it's just pacing, and it's kind of hard to capture that, because people go to Matrix 1, they didn't know what to expect. And then you come into 2, and then you got it ends with a dude in a white room, in a white suit, saying, vis-a-vis, this is the 15th time, and I think a lot of people are like, what the fuck's going on? And I had to watch Matrix 2 and 3 multiple times.
Well, that's kind of how all 3 of them were. You couldn't just watch Matrix once. That was almost like its selling point. You had to watch it multiple times, which was like a good marketing scheme, because it's like, it wasn't one of those movies where it confused people enough, like, fuck that movie. It like confused them enough where it's like, I really liked what was going on. I couldn't tell you what was going on, but I really liked what was going on, so I'm going to go back and see it again.
Which I liked, don't get me wrong, I love Matrix 2 and 3. I like 1 more. I think 1's a perfect movie. But 2 and 3, I still think
Strange enough, I actually like the second. The second one's still my favorite one.
Really?
And it always has been. I like that one more than I like the other.
And I'll be honest, number 3, it's still a good movie. I think it's a little slow, though, at the beginning.
It does have, like, it's kind of almost made like an older movie, where it's like this big, huge build-up, and then there's just tons of action finally towards, like...
They give it kind of like 30 minutes of exposition, and they say, right when you're like, all right, when are you gonna... Good with the action, says, hold the fuck on. Here's a bunch of robots attacking a city.
Yeah.
And then there's
Neo battling
Agent Smith. Which, say what you will about Matrix, that is like one of the greatest fight scenes in any movie, in my opinion.
Well, the one thing still about the Matrix, though, it's one of those, I could see somebody going like, well, Matrix 1 was just amazing. And 2 and 3, like, they're not bad, but they're not nearly as good as number 1. I can see people saying that, but they always just say, like, they hate them, like they're like an abomination film or something. It's just like,
yeah. Which, I mean, I don't get it either. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just I don't know. But
yeah, it's one of those ones. It's something I could never figure out. I'd really like somebody somebody who's smart enough to explain it to me, not give me some stupid, like, no, they're just stupider or something like that. Somebody to sit down and actually intelligently tell me why they don't like it.
There is actually a episode of The Nerdist. It was an older episode. It was right before Cloud Atlas came out.
Oh, it's one of the Wachowski brothers on
It's Wachowski brothers and the dude who made Run Lola Run and Perfume. Mm-hmm. And he also made Cloud Atlas.
Well, he made a bunch of other movies too.
Yeah, those are the first two come to mind. He also did Cloud Atlas with them.
Yeah.
And they were talking, and they said, like, well, the Wachowski brothers. It's forced to happen.
Brother and sister, yeah.
The Wachowski siblings.
Well, it says that on the back of their movie for the last, 15 years.
I'm just so used to it. When I heard the whole thing that Larry became Lana, I was like, that's just a rumor. Then by the time Cloud Atlas, like, oh fuck, it's true, because they're two people that stay out of the limelight.
Yeah.
So even if you go to their fucking bio on the Matrix DVD, just like, all right, let's look at bio of these people. It just says the Wachowski brothers. Little is known about them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
But you actually, they actually said that what they were doing with Matrix 1 is kind of present it the way you would like they're very philosophical. They said a bunch of shit, so I can't say it all right here because it's not going to sound nearly as smart as they did. But they said it's probably your standard setup for your first movie trilogy. Second one, break the foundation and just shatter it and kind of go directions you wouldn't expect it to go. Don't really try and go like a 3-act story structure. Everything's just kind of like... Just the idea of just trying to break it. Number 3 was, all right, now
Finish it up.
where do we go from here? That's what they said. And I can kind of see that watching the movie. So.
Yeah. But it's one of those ones I just think I will never understand why people just don't like. They just have this hatred for those 2 movies.
Even people whose opinions I really respect still hate those movies. So I don't know what it is either.
Yeah, it's so weird. I mean, as I said, I could see somebody going like they're not nearly as good. Kind of like a standard like sequel kind of thing. Like, the first one's always gonna be the best one, but 2 and 3 are decent.
You get that.
But I don't know. Well, it looks like a good place to wrap this up at.
Yeah, snow might be getting bad out there.
Yeah, snow's bound to build up at some point, so I guess we'll just cut it off right here, which is a nice time anyways. So make sure to go out and check out Drunk Batman and Robin Episode 8. You can see it on Newgrounds, YouTube, and Vimeo, or just go to oldmanorange.com to check it out. Share it with friends and do all that fun stuff.
Send us an email.
You can send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And we will see you some other time.